Hello, good evening. Savva Talks Football is the name of the show. My name is Savva, and Road to 3K is not my surname. That is my aim. We're on the way to 3K. I'm joined tonight by the Paratici out there in Barcelona. How are you, mate? You good?
Yeah, good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. A day in the life of a Spurs fan, as always. Kuva 99, Kuvarelli, Kuvalicious. How are you?
Fantastic. It's brilliant being a Spurs fan. I love it.
Good. Then I've got great news for you. So the news is Spurs have officially put in another bid for Pedro Porro today. And the great news is, if you're Daniel Levy, is that he did not put in a bid that got the man. Funny that. Kuva, let me start with you. The Pedro Porro situation. Isn't it verging on embarrassing now, the fact that they have told us time after time after time, they've told the world, if you want this guy, we will let him go when you hit his release clause. Yet we are, in true Spurs fashion, that's £36 million, by the way. In true Spurs fashion, you know, a player plus 10 million, plus a Mars bar, I don't know, all of this kind of stuff. I mean, it's just Tottenham all over, isn't it, Kuva?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, put in a release clause, expect a team to meet the release clause, you give them the player. Seems to work for every other club in the world. Not us, though. I think Levy just looks at it as a challenge. Oh, they're not selling. I'll see if I can whittle them down and grind them for 30 days constantly of phone calls going, sell us on the cheap, sell us on the cheap, sell us on the cheap. And they go, get rid of this bloke. And then eventually maybe they go, oh, just get him away. Just give him the player. Perhaps that's his plan. Be so irritating they have to give in.
It must be. I mean, Perchi, at what point does it... Listen, I say I understand. I get annoyed, but I understand. When we're buying a player that hasn't got a release clause and you think, okay, you're going down to the last few days of the window because he's a tight git and he wants to save some money. I don't agree with it, but I get it, right? Mm-hmm. We're at the point now where we're coming to the last week. This guy could have been in situ to play Arsenal. He could have been in situ to play Man City tomorrow night. What is this self-sabotage at this point?
Yeah, it's just how we operate, unfortunately. We've operated like this all the time. And you know full damn well, we've had this discussion before, you know what's going to happen. Last day of the window, we pay the release clause. When we all sit there and go, why did we not pay it on the 1st of January, not the 31st of January?
Right.
And that's what's going to happen. We all know how it's going to end. That's literally what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's another way of looking at it. If I'm cynical about the club, which I bloody well am, is Levy looks to start a transfer window, identify a target. Well, I say target, a smoke screen, if you like. Deliberately offer below that value so he can keep it going, stretch it out the full 31 days, and then just go at the end of it. Well, we tried to get this player, but it just didn't work, did it? Sorry. And then he's laughing away to the rest of the board going, look at that, I've got away with it again. Didn't have to spend anything. Let's sack the manager if it gets hot.
Yeah. You're right. And the thing is with the whole Pedro Porro thing, I wouldn't even be too bothered if they kind of went and said, no, we price him at 30 million euros. We're not paying a release clause because we think it's over the value of it and we're going to move on to another target. I'd actually respect it because at least we've got a vision there. But what we're doing is as I say, we will sign him on the last day in the window and pay his release clause when we wanted him on the 1st of January.
Yeah. Do you know what? This kind of sums it up for me, right? I've said this all along, Kuva. You know I have. I can see us. I agree with Perchi. I think we'll get him in the end because I think we'll drag it out to the last days and we'll get it over the line. If he's good, it will be, there you go, we've backed Conte. Look how great he is. If he's bad, it will be, well, clearly another player that Conte didn't want. Look,
how many of us have really seen this bloke play as well?
A couple of times.
That's it.
Against us, weren't it? A couple of times against us, really, weren't it?
Did he stand out? I didn't remember him.
I mean, we were crap against them in both games, and they dominated us. To be fair, but as I said, this is my point. It's not for me, I'm at the point where I don't even care about the player. It's the fact the way that we're doing stuff. As I said, if he's the target, then get it done. If he's over the value that we judge him at, move on. Why do we still talking about it on the 18th of January, a player that we've been linked with for more than 18 days?
I'm gonna put a controversial one out there, Coover. If this guy can only play wing back, I don't want us to sign him, because I was like, when the new manager comes in, that we're going to play a 4 at the back and we don't have to watch any more of this dinosaur, fossil, 3 at the back football that hardly anyone in world football plays anymore, apart from Antonio Conte. Is there any merit to that? I mean, I want a right back. I want to.
As far as I'm concerned, it's simple, isn't it? Get 11 players that are intelligent, comfortable on the ball, technical ability, and want the win. You tell them to play any position, they'll find a way of doing it. You know, back in the old days, you know, say the likes of Stephen Carr or Chrissy Houghton, fullbacks, could they go forward? Yes, they could.
Yeah.
If you say to them, drop into midfield, we need you further up the pitch, no problem. It's not, oh, I don't know that position. What do I do? No, it's bullshit. Sign a quality player, he'll be able to play fullback or wing back. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I've seen a couple of comments I really want to discuss. First of all, is this one. Big up, Dave Raybold. Long time. Have you been in the chats? Long time no see, my man. But big up if you have been. He said, I'm suspicious that nobody else sees Porro's clause as a bargain and not bought him. But the clause is there. Buy him if you want him. I mean, listen, I get that point. But also, I've got to be mindful that we could say that of any player we buy, right? We could say, well, if so-and-so's that good, why have so-and-so not bought him? But I agree with, if it's 36 million pounds, right? 45 million euros, something like that. If that's it, right? Go and get him. If not, can we see somebody going to get him, i.e. Chelsea, who seem to be buying everyone? Can we see that happening?
I think Man City. Man City's the one I think will go and buy him, because they've got a cheaper release clause.
25 million.
Buyback. They've got a buyback clause.
Yeah, they've got a buyback for 25 million.
And at the moment, when their fullbacks haven't been incredible this season, I mean, it could be a bargain for them. But as I said to you, there's a part of me. This is me putting my tin hat on here and going. There's a part of me that thinks, actually, are we intentionally longing this out so that we have then excuses to say that why we've not signed anybody else? Because if we signed him on the 1st of January, we'd all be going, where's the next one? But if we long this out long enough, we can go, well, we spent a window trying to sign this player. The way this club works, it doesn't shock me, because it's the sort of stuff they would do.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, sorry, I went all quiet mind there. Sorry. The funny thing is, by the way, people, there are 199 of you in the chat and 25 likes. I am not a mathematical genius, but I make that 1/8 of you. Maybe I am a mathematical genius. 1/8 of you have liked the show. Come on, just press the like button. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Savva Talks Football. Guys,
yeah, they're treating the channel like it's Levy trying to sign a player, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah. It's not on. Our mate Billy Horrocks is back. I'm sure this guy's a troll, but hey ho, here he is. Said Porro signing is a clear sign, guys, that Conte is in it for the long run. Make head nor tail out of that guy.
How can you possibly deduce that from the signing? Has Conte said that?
I don't know. What? Do we even know if Conte wants him? Because if Conte wants him and they're haggling over a 36 million pound release clause, they're not really backing him, are they? Funny that.
Exactly. That's the massive point. Everyone says about back Conte. If he's the player Conte wanted, why is he not being signed? And this is where it comes down to it. Like, where I think, like, how can you deduce that if we're backing him? How is bringing in Pedro Porro backing him?
I understand, Perchi, right? Like the people that really like Conte and want him to be here long term. I get it, and they're the ones that are super positive about everything, and I get it. I admire it. I can't do that. I like to think I've got a little bit too much savvy to just be, it's amazing, roses, sunshine, you know, Care Bears, all that. Remember Care Bears? All that nonsense, right? But I can't understand if they're trying to back him, that we haven't got 36 million. And on top of that, like you said, Percy, that the news going around today that Spurs are going to bid 96 million for Vardiel. Well,
Yeah.
we can't get
If, as I said to you, I will give up every single one of my social medias to everyone and get rid of him if we sign him for 96 million pounds, because it's absolute balmy. Honestly, I genuinely do think some of these journalists, I put them in air quotes because I question a lot of them, but they do it for a bit of a laugh. It has to be, because where do you get that logic from?
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely madness, isn't it, Coover?
For me, it's even more basic. What does a manager like Conte do, or Tuchel, or Mourinho? What's the first part of the team they need to get sorted out to go somewhere?
Yeah.
You build your defence and you get a solid goalkeeper in. I don't think anybody around the club at the moment is thinking we've got the greatest goalkeeper in the world and we got top three central defenders in there. I'm sure Conte's not thinking, Davis, Dyer, Longley, Romero on his current form for club, and Lloris behind him. He's thinking, that's it, solid. Let's get the rest of the team in. I'm thinking he's probably looking, why aren't we getting a goalkeeper? Why aren't we getting at least a couple of central defenders in? So at least there's a solidity at the back, even if we're messing up everything else. Makes no sense. That's no evidence that he's staying to me. That just looks like it looks like to me like he's come up in a conversation at some point as an option for right wing back, which we do need as well. But priority number one and getting nobody else.
Yeah. JJR Maker said, we have the worst owners in the top 5 leagues in Europe for the stature of our club. We by far have the worst owners. I don't think anyone on this panel will disagree with you on that.
Could argue Juventus until recently, couldn't you?
Yeah, you could. I mean, absolutely. I'm sure there's going to be cases all over, but I mean, for 22 years of it, we win by far. You don't need to know my name. I said, exactly. I love that. You don't need to know my name. Brilliant.
Got a point, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. We wouldn't be surprised if he comes in and he is riding the bench of Basuma. It's just like an Antonio Conte thing to do, isn't it? That we'll get Porro, and then for the first 5 or 6 games, Emerson Royal will start. Right?
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me. But this is the point, though, and this is what me and you have spoken about on different streams, Savva, and we said about right wing back. He's only tried 2 of the 3 right wing backs he's got in his squad at the moment.
Yeah,
and we don't think Jed Spence could be. He may not be, but he hasn't even given him a go. So, he's basically judging him solely on training, or he's making. And as someone tried to make a point, he's doing it as a political statement to why he's not playing him, which then falls into my argument saying I don't want someone like that in there because he's more worried about his own beliefs and his own argument instead of wanting the best for this football club. And that's where, for me, that's when I get onto the stage where I don't care anymore about him because it's all about him. Does that make sense?
I think this whole thing now has become about him.
Yeah.
I think what all the things he's saying. Listen, I'm going to say it, Perchi. Cougar knows what I'm about to say. I am no longer, and people can say it, I'm no longer sitting on the fence. I don't care if Conte's here. I don't want him here. I don't want him here. I don't want this style of football anymore. I don't want this guy to be the guy that's backed, because if you back this guy, it means that we're going to have this turgid football, and more than that, it means that we're going to have loads of wing backs and centre backs at this club, and we're never going to be a dynamic force going forward. So for me, I want him to go. Whether he walks, whether he's sacked, I don't care. Just get him out of the club. If that means he leaves in the summer, cool. But I think
that's the key phrase for a lot of fans at the moment, isn't it? Don't care.
Yeah, and literally, and so just on that point about it, is the one person that is the biggest Conte out there is Antonio Conte himself. Because and this is a bit, and I'm not here defending the owners, by the way, because I'm not defending him, but I will defend him in their point of why are we going to go and spend 5 players in this window for him when he hasn't signed a contract at the end of the season? So he's leaving at the end of the season. I mean, so why are we going to go and buy a load of players for him?
I suppose the counter argument to that. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I suppose that theory really does depend on a couple of things. Has he had a contract put in front of him? This is the thing. If he has and hasn't signed it, cool. Don't back him. If he hasn't, it's catch-22. I don't want to back a manager that's longest spell at any club is 3 years.
Yeah,
I don't want to see more of what he does. And I can only be true to myself, guys. I don't really like the wing back formation unless you've got proper wing backs.
Yeah.
And I don't want a manager that, listen, like when Stell came on yesterday, giving us all these coaching, this is why the players can't. I'm not having it. I'm sorry, I'm not having it. Try something. Try something. All managers have to try something.
You get paid enough money to give it a go. And I feel like, and he doesn't give it any go. He doesn't go, do you know what? As I said to you, and this is what I said to you on the stream the other day, I said, why doesn't he go and put Forster in against Man City? I mean, if players are picked on form, then Forster should be starting against. Because if that's the case, that means if no one changes, it makes no difference then. You could have one of the worst games of football in your life and it makes no difference. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Coover, where are you on this? So we had this chat, didn't we, on the Spurs corner? Obviously, it started a bit of a chain reaction that led to me swearing and storming out. It wasn't my finest moment, but fuck it, hey? It happened.
Yeah.
Greek Cypriots, mate. I'll keep telling you.
Greek Cypriots from Lewisham, all sorts of mate. Listen, it's amazing that I've never been in trouble with the police. Look, for me, Coover, that's a great point that Perchi touches upon. You've got Hugo Lloris, who, let's be really honest, Hugo Lloris right now looks like a Championship League One standard goalkeeper. And yet the goalkeeper we bought in the summer can't get a game. And even then, all the very adamant Conte fans find a way to defend that decision. I don't understand it. Coover, we say, why not try this with a goalkeeper? Oh, because of bum. Why not try this with a formation? Because of bum. Why not drop Son and put because of There's a reason for everything why Conte does nothing different game in, game out.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a comment actually Billy Horrocks made, which I totally agree with. And he said, at the moment, Conte is a bigger manager than we are a football club, basically. I agree with that.
It is. Then why is he?
He's got more stock in his name than we have as a club with our name.
So why is he here?
So yeah, that's it. That's where I'll start questioning Conte. First of all, don't like the style of football, and for me, that is incredibly important. Just as important as being a winning side, it's got to be you got to win in style. I don't settle for less. Never will.
And this is exactly.
Secondly, I was going to say. Now, I was accepting that Conte's a good, very, very good manager, and he's going to win things if you back him, but we're not going to back him. Can't even use that argument now. Now I'm questioning how good a manager is he if he's prepared to stay here, see that things are absolutely bullshit at the back of the team, and then not kick up a fuss about it. How come we're not fixing those areas of the team first? If Conte's staying and we're still not doing it, then he's accepting it. If he signs a new contract now, which I can't see happening, but if just by staying here this long, he's saying that it's okay, I'm tolerant of that. How is that being an elite manager accepting it?
But Coover, this is exactly my point though about the whole Conte situation. For a manager that is meant to be this amazing manager, he hasn't got a plan B. Yes, honestly, I haven't seen.
I don't even know what plan A is.
Well, that's the point. But it's as I said to you, and this is the annoying thing about it, and this is what I always say. Yes, maybe he is bigger than us, but stop making it out that he's here like on some charity mission, like he's here on some sort of charity prospect to look up to protect Tottenham Hotspur.
I make you right, and I felt you're in the WhatsApp group, so I can feel Perchi. Where you come from, it's all about we're lucky to have him. Now, look, what I want to do is when we look at Billy Horrocks, we should feel lucky we have a manager this good. But I'm not seeing anything that's good. I'm not seeing. listen, I'm not talking about...
lucky in what way? It's like saying, "Oh, hang up the Christmas stocking." You'd be lucky that Santa Claus comes along when you know the Christmas stocking's going to be empty in the next morning anyway.
He's being outcoached by the majority of the Premier League. And this is the point I try and make. And this is, me and Stowe agree, the matter is about the whole... I honestly think he's one of the worst coaches in the league. Like, I haven't seen... And this is what I was trying to make the point about and when Stowe was saying about all these setups, I said, then why is he not coaching these players? He's been at this football club long enough to coach these players. He's just not coaching them. He's saying, this is what we're doing, get on with it. And it's like, if these players aren't as good as everyone keeps saying, why is he not coaching a system? I haven't seen any sort of coaching from us.
The funny thing is, I mean, if I go back to, I'm not going to name names here. I don't believe in doing that. I'm not going to do that. But if you remember some conversation we had with a certain person in a WhatsApp group the other day where we were talking about, okay, why can't Conte upskill any of these players? And let's be really honest, no one in this team has been upskilled since he's come in. I don't care. I've not seen...
I'd argue Ben Davis.
On what? I think he's been exactly as average as he's been.
He's at least converted him away from being a left wing back, where he was even worse.
Well, I don't see him as any better. I just see him as steady as always. But look, the point is this, right?
It's no bells and whistles, really, is it?
But the point is this, Kuva, is in the same time, right? In the same time, sorry, I've just got to debunk this myth. Billy. We're not going to win football. We're not going to win anything, however we play at the moment. That's the point. We're not going to win anything playing. Look, all the other managers must look at Conte's style and be like, well, that's easy to counter. Anyway, right. My whole point was this.
Sorry. Just to add to this one, go and do some homework, Billy. Pick out an era in the club's entire history where we've played shitty, boring football and managed to win things on a consistent basis. Then compare it to periods in the club's history where we play great football and win things. Yeah. And I'll bet you which one comes out on top. I'll have a bet on that. I'll bet it's attacking football comes out on top.
Yeah. I agree. Just quickly. So my point with this was, when we were in that WhatsApp group, what we said was, okay, you're paid 15, 20 million pounds a year. I get it. You need your own players. I get it. You need your own players. But he's also had a number of signings made for him since he's been here. He's had 9 players signed for him that I was assured were all his players, other than Spence. He hasn't upskilled anyone. In that same time, I think he joined 6 days before Eddie Howe joined Newcastle. Yeah. In that time, look at the difference in Fabian Schär to then and now, right? Have a look at the difference of Joe Linton from then to now. Have a look at the difference of Willock, Longstaff, Almiron, right? All of them, right? But the argument is our players can't be coached any better. But if I'd said to any of you in the window a year ago, any of you before these two managers joined, would you want Joe Linton, Schär, Longstaff, Willock, Almiron? Be really honest with me, guys. Who's picking any of them?
The only one I'd probably have picked was Almiron, but as a squad player,
a year ago,
probably. I thought he was all right player. I thought he was just crap. Like he played, but he had one. I thought he was okay. But I get your point in the whole conversation on it though. Like if we were linked with him, we'd go, what are we doing? I know what you mean. Right, I agree with you.
Hang on, just quickly. Hustler C, calm down, my friend. Listen, stop telling people to shut up. It's fine. Everyone's just having a football chat. That's all it is. Just calm down, mate. All right. Billy comes back in with, we're definitely more likely to win playing Conte's way than any other way. You can't argue against.
Based on what?
Hang on.
Based on what?
Hang on. You've got to let me finish, Percy.
Sorry.
Relax. He said you can't argue against facts. Look at his CV. Billy, I'll tell you the same thing. Right? I'll tell you the same thing that I tell every other fan. His facts and his CV aren't based on being at Tottenham Hotspur. This is the problem. Right? This is the problem. It's crazy. I don't understand. I will never understand how fans like you can't see this. It's okay going to these big clubs, getting backed, and your pragmatic style works because you're giving him top defenders, top midfielders. We haven't got that, Billy. We're not going to give him that. Why, oh, why do fans still want him at this club when I don't know, Kuva. Talk some sense into him, please.
No, I don't think you can talk sense into it. Oh, here we go. Here's another one. Too much too quickly. We're currently 5th and 6 points beyond City and then the Champions League knockouts. Okay, so we should be progressing then, which is why this season we're averaging less points per game than we were under Conte last season, scoring less goals per game, letting in more goals per game, and in a lower league position than when we finished last season. The facts are, and statistically backed up, we are performing worse than last season. And that is after a transfer window, which was one of these 3 that he's going to need to turn this team around. It's not happening. And the facts, which you quite like to bring up, actually back that statement up. How are you saying Conte is going to bring us forward when everything suggests we are now going backwards at the moment?
But this is the thing, people. We seem to have excuse after excuse. Look at this. Yep. They said, to be fair, Savva, they were in the relegation zone playing like League players. It's not asking too much to get them playing better. He's talking about the Newcastle players. But hang on. So let's make this make sense. So Eddie Howe picks up players who were bottom of the league, hadn't won in their first 14 Premier League games, right? And manages to get those players so much better that they're part of the 11. I think all 5 of them that I mentioned start week in, week out.
Yeah.
To be in the top 4. Antonio Conte comes to a club who are mid-table, right? And can't get those players above Eddie Howe's players that it makes no sense.
Especially when we start off as the other advantage of having a World Cup winning goalkeeper, Harry Kane up front, Heung-min Son, the Golden Boot winner. It makes no sense.
And
what Howe has done has been incredible.
And before anybody uses that, because they've got oil money crap, we've spent more money than they have. So I'm not having anyone use that one in the comments. So, they've gone and bought all this money on Isaac and all that lot. We've spent more money than they have. And they've not just gone above us, they play better football than us, and they are coached a lot better than us. Like it's mental. And then they're getting form out of players that were basically playing championship quality players in Joe Willock, as you said, Sean Longstaff, Fabian Schär. He's turned Dan Burn into a proper left back.
I tell you what, I want to read this super chat, and then I've seen a really good comment. I want to read out a really good comment. Divish Aurora, thank you very much for the super chat, has said you need a rebuild. Look at Ten Hag, and that's a manager you back. I would argue that it's not a rebuild we need. It's just a build. I don't think we've built.
We need to knock down everything and start again.
A rebuild, Divish.
Sorry.
Come on, man.
Sorry, mate.
Divish, I would say that when fans use the word rebuild, it would suggest that you're rebuilding from something that was once successful. I.e., Man United are always in rebuild because they're a team that have won Champions League, Europa Leagues, Champions Leagues. We're a team that haven't won a cup since 2008. But I get your point. I really like Ten Hag. I suppose the question would be, if Ten Hag was brought in at Spurs, would he have got the players that he wanted? And that's the question. But this comment is brilliant. Kuva, we'll say what you've seen in a minute. Freddie, absolute nail on the head, mate. Nail on the head. People who say we have tried Pochettino and we didn't win anything. Well, guess what? We were closer to winning anything with these 2 than we are with Conte. Absolutely bang on, right? Absolutely bang on. Even in the Redknapp days, I remember being in semi-finals. I remember being in top 4, playing proper football, attacking teams. Spot on. Kuva, what are you laughing at?
Oh, mate, Billy Horrocks again.
Oh God, he just, I just can't. Where is it?
It's going back. Not very far. There we go.
Oh, just I just can't.
How come Bournemouth aren't top of the league then?
At Newcastle, it's easy. So, Billy, it's easy to take over the team bottom of the table without a winning full team. But it's not easy to take over a team that have a partnership that score 50 goals between them guaranteed a season.
Oh, God. Oh,
I mean, it's listen, and this is why, right? This is why other fan bases laugh at us. Look at this nonsense. Sean has said we are a laughing stock, Savva. We need a complete read out. Listen, I think we need to gut the whole thing. Perchi and I were talking today. Said, listen, for me, all of them can go. I don't care. Manager, director of football, board, head scout, medics. Bring in a young, up-and-coming manager and just get some pride back in this club. Let him buy young players that he can build into a team, because we're not in any way, shape, or form going to win anything. And I don't care. I'll say it. I can't stand Conte as a manager. I'm going to say it. I didn't see any pride in that. Do you know what, right? Let me take you back, Cougar. Do you remember last year's North London derby at the Emirates under Nuno? I think we lost 3-1. We went 3-0 down at half-time, I believe. I think we lost it 3-1 in the end.
Yeah, Son scored.
And everyone was saying this is one of the worst performances they've seen in from a Spurs team. No heart, no passion. And he had an absolute awful, horrendous squad. Why does Conte get away with it? Because what I saw from Tottenham the other night, again, no heart, no passion, no fight. But yet, because his name is Antonio Conte, we're giving him a free pass again.
It comes back to the same thing for me. I'm not going to blame Conte too much. I'll blame him for the fact we're playing some football that's poor to watch. But when it comes to success, it is the owners that built this. Mm-hmm. He's dealing with the legacy of what's been built over 22 years, basically. The culture of the club, the signings that are currently at the club. Why are we having to replace so many players just to have a foundation for a manager to work with? That's insane. Mm-hmm. Top 6 club. We need to build a foundation. Surely the foundation is always there. That's what's so bloody wrong. So it's not all on Conte. No. I argue that perhaps Conte could be doing a bit better with what he's got, but he's not used to working with this pile of shit, is he?
And that is this point here, Coover, where Knob Jockey, great name, lovely name, that has said, does that mean Eddie Howe is a better manager than Conte? Now, we had this chat the other day, Coover. For me, I think it's not about who's the better manager. I think it's about what's suited to where, right? I.e., if Inter Milan want instant success and want to chuck money at it, I'm taking Antonio Conte over Eddie Howe. If I want a manager to go in who's taken over a club where they haven't got ready-made players, Tottenham Hotspur, I want Eddie Howe. I don't want Antonio Conte. Now, that's not me saying in the long run Eddie Howe's a better manager, but there are certain managers that are not they're not build managers, are they? They're not managers that come in. They're used to working with players like Eddie Howe, who has specialised with getting Bournemouth from League 2 to the Premier League, right? Who has specialised now in getting some very average Newcastle players to playing at their full maximum. That's not Conte, is it?
No, it's certainly not. Plus, I'd also like to say with Eddie Howe, a lot of us, it's not just a few of us that have rated Eddie Howe over the years. A lot of us looked at what the job he did at Bournemouth. And under those circumstances, it was incredible. Just keeping him in the Premier League was an incredible achievement. Only came to an end after he had an injury crisis. The fact is now, Eddie Howe is having a chance at a bigger club.
Right.
Not as big a club as we are yet. We've still got better resources than as it stands at the moment. In the long run, they're going to overtake us. But look at what he does when he actually does go to a big club. It's been insane. I think he deserves full credit this season. I think he's got to be up there for one of the top managers, definitely.
For me, he's my manager of the season.
Yeah, I wouldn't bet against him winning silverware and securing top 4 this play.
I think I said he'll win the Carabao Cup this season. I wouldn't shock me at all. And it'll be yet another team. It'll be another team that finishes that has won stuff before, since we've last won something again, and they'll keep doing it. Because the thing is he's accelerated their progression, because obviously with their new owners and stuff, they want to go further. He's put them into that shop window now.
Again, somebody who has not clearly listened to a word I said. They are very different managers that do very different things. But do you know what? When we're talking about what has Eddie Howe achieved, right? Have a look at what he did at Bournemouth. Name me a manager that's taken a club through 4 leagues to the Premier League. I'm sorry, that is a phenomenal achievement. I'm not even reading out Billy Horrocks' comments.
No, this is a great one just to nail him with.
Go on.
He's asking for a project under Conte.
Right.
It's not
a troll. You're an absolute moron if you're not a troll. Just don't bother with the comments anymore, as far as I'm concerned. He's got nothing to say.
David Clark, big up to yourself, my man. I hope you're well. Conte has lost the plot because he obviously looked at this Spurs squad and saw what happened under an equal like Mourinho, yet he still came to us. Baffling. David, I agree with you. And this is the big question we've asked time and time again. Just before I ask it again, there are 365 of you. Welcome to the chat. And only 101 likes. Come on, people. Let's get that up to 200 quickly. Also, you'll see my name is the road to 3K. Thank you so much. We have had an amazing, had over 590 subscribers in the last 25 days. It's been absolutely hectic. Please, let's get to 3K. There's certain YouTubers I really want to catch, and I'm not going to mention any names. I really want to catch them. So please help me get to that 3,000 mark. Guys, before we move on to the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, it just does always bring back this question. Why did he join Tottenham, and why did he only sign an 18-month contract?
Because he's getting paid a lot of money for not really needing to do much. Let's be honest. And it's an 18 months now where he can sit and wait for a big job, because he can walk. If this is the point that I was trying to make the other day, and I was trying to say that if Real Madrid sacked Ancelotti tomorrow, you think Conte's going to sit here and wait around if he gets offered a job there? He'll be going quicker than anyone. This notion that he's here for us is not rubbish. Because if a better job comes available, he will hightail it. Yeah. I don't get why people can't see that. Like, why wouldn't he? This isn't against him, by the way. Why wouldn't he? If Real Madrid, doesn't really matter what team it is, PSG, Bayern Munich, if they offered him a job, he would be running as quick as the fucking money's coming.
Just quickly, Ben Davis, on a mega budget, just want to know what that means. See, this is the thing. See, Will, I completely disagree. When we say Newcastle bought Trippier and Target, we bought Emerson Spencer. Look, Target's Target was a decent left back in the Premier League. He was nothing special. Yeah. Let's not pretend that Newcastle have gone out and bought worldies. I thought they bought Isak, who is a very untried and tested player.
Dan Burn.
Right. Dan Burn, who, if I had said to you, Will, if I had said to any Spurs fan, should we buy Dan Burn? Should we buy Matt Target? I can guarantee, Kuva, you know, if I had said those two in the summer, everyone would have gone Dan Burn and Matt Target.
You know what? Dan Burn I would have taken even without knowing who he is.
Listen, at the end of the day, they've done some very good bits, Newcastle. I mean, Guimaraes was a brilliant signing.
Isaac's a good signing as well.
Isaac's a good signing, but again, we can't say he's played loads for them. He hasn't actually had a massive impact. He hasn't really played a lot. But when you look at Botman was... I remember lots of fans coming onto our show in the summer, Kuva, telling me that Botman's not the one. Botman's not the one. Don't get Botman. He's not good enough.
Unreal.
Quality player.
Yeah.
A quality player.
You know what? There's over on Irish Hotspur, Jack Haneke always does this little segment. Oh, sorry, it's Flat Cap Euro Talk or something. And he's just... whether you like him or not, whether you like the channel or not, he does an interesting segment with just highlighting players that Spurs could be getting. And this is the sort of player that would come up on there, and then you get the highlight reels and the stats behind it. And anybody looking at that, you get interested in that sort of player. You go and look at what they've done elsewhere, YouTube videos that start looking at their career, and you think, you know what, he'd do really well at Spurs, wouldn't he?
Whose channel is that, Cougar?
That's Jack Kanicki's doing. He does a flat cap Eurotop. He's part of David's channel on Irish.
Yeah.
Like
Listen,
their spin-off thing.
Listen, I'm a big believer, Cougar. So really quickly, go and subscribe to these guys. I'm a believer that you shouldn't just watch the same person. Watch all the different channels. Get all the different takes. Right? I think there's so much division in this fan base and in this YouTube community. Watch everyone. I watch. Obviously, I work with David. I watched the Irish Hotspur channel. I watched an episode of the Cheese Room the other night. I watched. Obviously, I watched Tottenham Away, and I watched Tottenham on Tour, and Henry Wright TV, and the Free Spurs boys, and Southview Coys. Watch them all. Big up. Keep the community going, guys.
Exactly.
They all put the effort in for each one of us. They really do.
Couple of the recent arguments going on in the chat here as well. Two things I'll agree with. If Eddie Howe comes to Spurs, he's not winning anything. I agree. Nobody wins anything yet.
No one said that, yeah.
The other one was, would Conte do as well at Newcastle if he was given those players too? No. I think he would. I think they bought quality players in quality positions. You'd get a tune out of it. It's better than what we're doing here, isn't it?
Hang on. So what we're saying is Conte would be doing with Willock, Longstaff, Shah, Joe Linton, what he can't do with any of our players.
No. When you're talking like the Botmans coming in and your Trippiers and
But he'd still have so then let me flip the argument then. So at Tottenham, he has had those players come in. He has had Kulu come in. He has had Bentancur. He has got Romero. Right? It's not like this is what I mean. When people talk about our squad, they talk about it like it should be relegation fodder. Right? There are good players in our team that I think you can build around. Right?
But this also goes back to my point though of that. If you're going to build a successful team, where do you start? What would Conte want? I know he would want a rock-solid goalkeeper and back four or back three, if you like.
Of course.
What did Newcastle do? First signings they made, goalkeeper, central defence and fullbacks. It's
Would he? Sorry, let me pronounce my mum's turning in her grave somewhere at my lack of grammar there. Would he of being able to do it though with the Dan Burns and the targets? Because what we hear here at Spurs, Kuva, is that he didn't want players like Botman. He wants the Bastonis.
Yeah, that's the argument we're never going to be able to solve, isn't it? Because Conte just simply doesn't have that to go through that. Eddie Howe, on the other hand, you can point to time at Bournemouth, proving he can scrape by on absolute bare minimum and create a team that's good to watch and manages to stay in the division, which was miraculous for Bournemouth. Absolutely miraculous. Give him a chance at a higher level. He's taking it, I think.
By the way, Will, listen, I agree with you, dude. I'd take Target over these players. But what I'm saying is, Will, you know this fan base. If I had turned around in the summer and we did with a lot of players and said, he'd be a good buy. I remember we did a whole show on centre-backs, right? I remember this. It was me, you, I think maybe Stel and Henry. And I was saying, do you know what? I don't even want them, mate. I don't even want the Bastonis and the Vardials because of how much they cost. We're not going to pay it. For me, I'd be looking at the Ben Mees. I'd be looking at the Tarkowskis, the Connor Codys. I'd be looking to get in some Premier League experienced centre-halves. You know what? No frills, but just like defending.
I said that in the summer. Tarkowski was the one. It was a freebie.
What did everyone say? No,
exactly.
Not good enough. This is what I mean. These other clubs buy these players that our fans turn their noses up, and then they use those players as a reason as to why Conte's not doing as well as he should be, in my opinion. Let's be fair. Longley is not the worst centre-back in the world. I don't see Longley making glaring errors, if I'm honest. I'm not saying he's amazing, guys. But I don't see Longley week in, week out slipping over the ball, missing headers, being pulled out of position. He's okay. He's He's an experienced centre half. So for me, there's no reason why with him and Romero you can't start to build something, right? That's what frustrated me in the whole Antonio Conte thing. Will, again, mate, lots of people in the summer were saying they didn't want Botman.
I did see it loads.
Lots of we did the usual thing. It was we don't want Botman, not everyone, but don't want Botman. Then when Newcastle signed him, it was he's gone to Newcastle for a reason. Now he's part of the best defence in the league. Everyone wants Botman. Look, guys, we're never going to all agree, right? Of course. By the way, Dale, welcome to the show. I don't think I've seen your name before, so welcome, my friend. I said, Savva, who would you take, Poch or Tuchel, if you had a choice? Look, neither. But if it was between the two, I can't say this with risk of Greg Spur calling me a fanboy because I'm not. Out of these two, Poch all day, every day. I think Tuchel is another pragmatic football manager that doesn't really want to, kind of reinvent. He's another one that doesn't want to play football. Just for me, guys. Let's move on.
Just a little thing. Do you recognise this name at all?
Who?
The Dale Sharnak. I've not seen it come up before.
No.
I just thought it's gone suspiciously quiet from Greg Spur, and this comment comes up, and he usually asks people.
Where, Greg Spur? Where are you, Greg Spur?
We know you're in the chat. He's in the chat somewhere, surely.
Hang on, Reece.
Apologies if it is somebody else, though. Obviously.
No, it's fine. Listen, if people don't put their real names, you can't. What can you do? Listen, 392 of you in the chat. Still 138 likes. Please smash that like button. It's so free. Like, it's really free. And please, if I can get another 10 subscribers in the next 10 minutes, I'll be overjoyed. When I get to 3K subscribers, I'm going to do a massive 5-shirt giveaway. So please keep smashing that like button and subscribing. Reece Billion has said, Savva, you want Conte to improve players that 4 other managers couldn't improve. Newcastle have players that are fresh canvases or have maybe failed under just one previous manager. This is the biggest fallacy ever. I am so bored of hearing that all of our players have failed under 4 managers, right? Let's be really, really honest. Who's been there under 4 managers, right? I'm going to start off. Kane and Son. I don't really think I'm worried about them two, right? Mm-hmm. Kane and Son. Kulusevski. No, played under 1 manager. Bentancur, no, 1 manager. Højbjerg came in under. Came in under Jose.
Yeah, so 3.
Played 3 months under Nuno, now under Thingy, right? And I don't think Højbjerg, as much as I don't rate him, I don't actually think he's the issue. Who else we got in there? Basuma, no, 1 manager. Perisic,
1 manager.
Right, Emerson Royale. 2 managers, right? He was brought in for Nuno. 2 managers. Clement Longley, 1 manager. Christian Romero, 2 managers. So who are you talking about? What we're talking about here is we're talking about 3 players, right?
No, 5 players. 5. Yeah. Davis, Dyer, Lloris, Kane and Son.
No, but I'm not talking about, because his comment is about improving them, right? Kane and Son are not the issue.
Oh, okay,
right?
Yeah, sorry, yes.
Right, Kane and Son. Lloris has gone. For me, this isn't about improving Lloris. Lloris is 408, right? It don't matter.
Yeah.
So the point we're talking about here, that the players he can't improve, what you're talking about then is what? Sessegnon? Cool. Well, don't play him, right? Davis? Cool. Don't play him. Dyer? Don't play him. Sanchez? Don't play him. Who else? So we're talking about 4 players that haven't been in the first team and have been crap at this club for years and years and years. So I don't understand. This is a fallacy. It's not true. And I bet you if you go back and look at Newcastle, that a lot of those players have also played for more than 1 manager. So this, Kuva, am I wrong? Am I being a bit harsh there?
No, I think it's fair enough. It's all subject, isn't it? Subjectivity, isn't it? But yeah, I can't really argue with that. There's no point arguing with it because It's just minor differences, isn't it?
But it's also you're right. But then what I find amazing is 1 minute Eric Dyer's been brilliant last season. So you get Eric Dyer's been brilliant last season, but now we're playing shit. He's now not coachable. It doesn't work.
Right. Do you know what? And this is something I'll back up. David Harris, Irish Hotspur, said it all summer. Fair play. Big up to yourself, David. He said all summer, right? People coming on his show going, well, centre-backs isn't a priority because look how well look how well Conte has done with Dyer and Davis, right? And now it's these players aren't coachable. You are spot on. The barometer changes depending on how the team's doing, Perchi.
Yep, agreed.
When we're playing badly, nothing's Conte's fault, right? When we're winning games, Conte masterclass, and this is where there's no balance for me. There's no balance. It's here or it's there. This is the problem for me. Hey, I think I've missed a super chat. Did I miss a super chat? I didn't, did I? I went through a super chat. Yeah, I went through the super chat. Guys, I want to move the conversation on a tiny bit because we could be here all day talking about this. I'm sure I'll see a comment that will pique my interest in a minute. See, look, again, he's back. I blame the same old shit players. So here's the question. Here's my question, Rick. Right? I will move on. I'm going to ask you to this. Perchi and Kuva. If this statement is true, I don't use the new signings to put Conte down. Most of them sit on the bench. I blame the same old shit players. I've got an idea then, guys. Mm-hmm. Why not? I know it's going to be crazy. Kuva, your mind's going to be blown here. It's going to be blown. Everyone get ready. Why not put the new players on the bench and see what they can do in the 11?
Exactly.
I don't know.
Amazing, isn't it? Let's change that one. Exactly.
To be fair,
you're too nice, Kuva. You don't want to.
No, I just think this is just a part of why this is such a clusterfuck at this club at the moment, isn't it? Because the fact is, we get players in that the manager doesn't trust to go and play his style of play. And if we're accepting that the manager is there for that, why buy those players? If we're going to buy those sort of players anyway, regardless, then why get this manager? It's the two. You've got to put the two things together, haven't you? It's just pointless.
I agree. Just quickly, Faz. No, I said Longlay's okay. He's an okay player. Would I have signed him? No. Is he the worst centre half I've seen at this club? Not by a long shot. So again, Faz, you go from the sublime to the ridiculous. What are you confused about? I didn't say it was a great signing.
He's Ben Davis with a new paint job, really, isn't he?
I think he's much better than Ben Davis. I really do.
I don't know about much.
I do. I've seen him have some very good games in a Barcelona shirt. The problem is, again, the same problem Romero have. Neither of them have got a top centre half in the middle where they feel comfortable to bring the ball out.
That's true.
I've said that all along. That's our problem. We haven't got someone in the middle that just dictates anything. That's no one. It's crazy at the moment half the time.
Yeah, Sanchez, Dyer, Davis, Tanga, and Gamura. Quite simple. I could pick you an 11, guys, that doesn't involve one of those players. I don't know about you guys. Right. Yeah. This is the thing for me. The excuses run out, Perchi. Ask this, Perchi, right? I'm going to just pick an 11. Listen, I'm not saying it's going to win the league. I'm not saying it's amazing. I'm not saying it's brilliant. But why couldn't you go Fraser Forster in goal? Jed Spence, Longley, Romero, and Perisic or Sessegnon on left back, right? Whoever. Mm-hmm. Basuma, Bentancur, and Højbjerg. Yep. And then Kane, Son, Kulusevski.
Nothing wrong, but this is what me and you've said all along. Why don't we just go 4-3-3? Because we have if I've already found this confusing, this 5-back, 3-back, whatever you want to call it. We're crap at the back. So why are we playing to our weakness? What are we good at? We're good at attacking. We've got three of the best attacking players in the league. I mean, Son's off form, but you know what I'm trying to say. That some won the Golden Boot last season, so we can't argue that. So you've got 3 attacking players there that can go and win you a game of football. Basuma, everyone's hyping him. How is all of a sudden under this over what? How long has it been in the season? What, 6 months, whatever it is? Somehow all of a sudden Basuma's been a crap player. I mean, that's a damning indictment on the manager, surely. That we signed a player that was coached under Graham Potter, that was wanted by everyone, but all of a sudden now he's crap. It doesn't work like that.
Just quickly, I just want to answer this before we move on. Reese, the problem is the players you've mentioned at the bottom there aren't the reason why we're not playing well, because they're not playing.
Yeah.
We can't turn around and say, well, we're not playing well because of XYZ player, but when they're not playing, right? Equally, the loaned out players aren't playing. I can't blame Ndombele and Lo Celso when they're at other clubs. Come on, dude. You've got to be sensible about this. At the end of the day, we brought in players like Basuma, who he doesn't play regularly. He gives a game to. He doesn't have a great game. We don't see him again for 2 or 3. Give the man a run of games in the team. Get him in a 3 in the middle. You'll see the best of him. Listen, keep it nice and friendly in the chat. Keep it nice and friendly, please. Coover, I want to come to you on this. The Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust sent an email to Tottenham Hotspur yesterday demanding answers, following up from what they sent a couple of weeks ago. Positive that they've done it, but is it all a little bit too late now? Is it all doing it on the kind of 17th, 18th of January, expecting an answer between now and the end of the window? Is it futile? What do you think about it?
No, I think for once, fair play to them. Puts pressure on the board now. I'm all for it.
Should have been done years ago.
Oh, without doubt. We should be seeing united front amongst fans saying what is going on here exactly. It's this aura of, well, it's not even an aura, is it? It's the complete silence from the club that makes things so frustrating to the point of being angry about it. Yep. Where we're asking, what's the plan here? Well, what are we supposed to be doing this season? What's the goal even? Or are we looking to secure top 4 again and build on it as usual? Or are we looking to win a domestic trophy? Or are we just looking to solidify what we got, hopefully encourage the manager to stay another season or so and then build on that? Are we looking to get youngsters in for the future? Can't even say that's the case because we're buying some old players as backups, or Paratici, who's coming towards the end of his career. None of it makes sense. We've got no clarification anywhere along the road. And I think at least now the trust is saying, this is the common questions that people are asking. Let's have an answer, please. I think pressure on the board is always a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you. Listen, Perchi, I don't doubt what Coover's just said there. I worry. Right, Cello Vera, just chill out, man. You're very aggressive in the chat. Chill out. Just chill out. All right, it's cool. We're all here having our Wednesday night, chilling out, doing our thing. Just relax. All right, everyone, relax.
Deep breaths, everyone.
Especially you, Will Stewart. No, I'm only joking, Will. I'm only joking. Will, if you've got time and you want to come on, mate, you're more than welcome. Just chuck me a WhatsApp. It's fine. And by the way, anyone talking about me and Will from the other night, Will and I often have some very heated debates. It's all fine. It's all good. There's no issues. Don't worry. Coover, sorry, Perchi, I agree with what Coover said. It's good. It's good that they've done it. It's positive. What's your hopes, Perchi, that we're going to get an answer before the 1st of February on all of the succinct points that they did make to the board?
If we know this has happened before and we know what happened, the timings of when it all comes back is very collective and it will be done very cleverly and stuff like that. So they're not going to come back before the window's closed. It's exactly the reason why I've said that they've not announced their finances in January. Clever that, isn't it? Let's not announce that we've made record profits in the transfer window. And for me, that's where it boils down to. The club don't care. They don't care about us. The fact that I'm about the owners and stuff do not care about us. We're customers to them now. Like you go to McDonald's as you're a customer at McDonald's. You don't go to McDonald's and they don't sit there and care about you. You buy your burger and go. And this is the point. This is the football clubs. We've just become numbers to them. We are literally numbers to them. Do they give a shit? No. As Savva said, they told us what they're here for. They're here to make money. And people will never, until people start believing that and understanding that, it makes no difference if, as I said, it makes no difference if we do whatever now, because they're not going unless someone goes and pays 5 billion or whatever the price tag was. Do you know what I mean, Kuva?
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, I was getting a little bit sidetracked because there was something I was going to bring up on the channel about. All ties in with things. That ties a lot of things in together. There was a really good article written today, basically highlighting all the things that have been going on with the club and this attitude of we've got no plan, we've got no direction, and it basically pointed out that yes, we do have a plan and a direction. It's just not one that football fans want to hear.
No.
It's all about that infrastructure. It's all about the fact we can host NFL games and concerts and big gigs and boxing matches.
Mate,
it's
we're
all
here to make money.
All going to plan. We are just basically the theme park that happens to have a football team now.
Yeah.
It's
there's
an argument. Somebody I totally dislike for the way he talks to people, but he made a point a while back, and that was the boy Hotspur. And he said the time to protest should have been before we moved grounds.
Agreed.
Unfortunately, I've got to say how right he was, because
Everyone,
now we're locked into this. This is
Absolutely.
All we've got left is absolute meltdown possibility, and fans being so toxic. In fact, to the point where I'm saying, I don't care if I'm going to get called toxic for being so-called negative. I think that's what's needed now. We need more people being toxic. We need more people screaming out of the stadium. This is shit. It's not good enough. Change something, Daniel Levy. I'm not even going to stick with Levy out. I'm all about just change at the very top. If he has to go, go. If it means the other directors have to give him a vote of no confidence and he's out, go that way. If he has to sell up, go that way. I don't care. Otherwise, if he's going to stay, put something in place that resembles how a top football club's supposed to be run on the football side. Get a committee in of ex-players, put it all in place. Do an Ajax. People say, no, you can't do what an Ajax in the Premier League. Absolute bollocks. Of course you can. Look at what's happening at Manchester City now. How did Phil Foden come about? Is that a fluke?
Yeah, exactly.
Or is that because they've now adapted to that style of play that Pep wants, and they're seeing the fruits of it coming through the academy now? He's the first of many. That's what I want at this club. It doesn't have to be Pep's style of play, but it can be ours, the one we used to be known for.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I feel like in football now, it's kind of like everyone thinks if you ask for a bit better football, you're asking for tiki-taka, Pep Guardiola style football. And I've never said that. Listen, would I love that at Spurs? Of course I would. Do I acknowledge we're a decade away from that and billions of pounds and a proper players? Of course. I just want to see. I always go back to Coover. I copy you on this. You are my hero with this. I just want to go back to the kind of Harry Redknapp days where going to White Hart Lane week in, week out under Harry Redknapp, I loved it. You knew we were going to be entertained. Win, lose or draw, you knew we were going to be entertained. And this is where that argument is born from, Coover, of well, we didn't win anything then, so we'll try this way. But this way only works with top players. And I can't understand all of those people that constantly, look, as I've openly said Conte out now. I'm not even on the fence. I've openly said Conte out. Whether he walks, whether he's sacked, I don't care. Just no point this man being at my football club now, right? At the end of the day, for all those that want him in, yeah, that tells me that you truly believe Enoch and Levy are going to change their ways.
Yeah, no, but this is, I think what you're saying is absolutely spot on. But I think people need to start. They need to sort of realise now, collectively, is that it's not going to change.
Right.
Nothing. And I think, and this is the part where people are clutching at straws. And in a way, and I don't want Pochettino back, but I've now resigned myself. Do you know what? I'd rather have what we had when we were building up with him. yeah, we were playing better football. He was ditching, and we were bringing players through the academy. Like people moan at Harry Winks. He had all that lot coming through, and we actually had an identity at the club. Like, we don't have anything now. Like as I said, I'm not saying I want him back. I actually I will not respect him even more if he comes back, because he knows what the problems are here. So if he comes back, he's then complicit into the problems, is what I'm now at. So I don't want to. I made a point to you, Savva. I'd go to Burnley and get Vincent Kompany and put Yaya Toure in. Those two in charge. Can't be any worse.
Yeah, I mean, Kuva, it's an interesting one, isn't it? We're at this stage now where I feel like whatever message people put across, if it's not that they really want Conte in, that people don't even try to understand it. I was just on with Rants and Bants, and I was explaining to him that, look, I'm at the point now where we're not winning anything with these managers and with this manager and these players. We're not, right? So I'm of the opinion that we've wasted the last kind of 8 to 10 years with a lot of very good players, with Kane, with Son. We've wasted that. I'm of the opinion now that someone said to me earlier, I'm not going to name names again. Someone said to me this earlier, Kuva. They said, would you take short-term pain, have a complete clear out, get in a younger manager, get loads of players and build? Yeah, for short-term pain for long-term gain. Do you know what my answer to them was? Short-term pain. When has it not been short-term pain, right? This is my point. All of these people that back Conte, they want him to do well here. At the same time, they're saying that they hate the owners. You can't say you hate the owners and you know they're the devil, but then think, well, keep Conte because he'll do well, because the two kind of they're like you know when you put two magnets together, they're like that, Kuva, aren't they? It doesn't work. So do you see what I'm saying? I want to rip the thing apart. Get me a young manager, get me young players that run, die for the shirt, can pass the football, and let me enjoy going to Tottenham again.
For me, I kind of get the question as well, though. Is if the way I'm looking at it is because I'm an advocate now for mid-season massive blow up between Conte and the management, Conte and the owners. Disruption, toxicity flying around. There you go. I said toxicity.
Yeah.
Got over the hurdle. So I want all of that happening mid-season. Complete blowout, anarchy, us sliding down the table, dumped out of the cups, absolutely horrendous stuff on the pitch. Everybody angry, everybody miserable, everybody going, sort this out, Levy, and then having no choice but to change something. Changing a manager won't cut it. Changing the way they do things is going to cut it. So he's either got to then say, right, I've listened to the fans. Here's the plan. Just come out and do that. He can even stay. In fact, if he's going to do that, he will get people back on his side if he did that. If there's a long-term view of how this club's going to be run. At the moment, it's just him having a guess at football manager stuff, isn't it? It's I've heard of this player or manager. Let's get them. There's nothing.
Absolutely.
So short-term pain. Yeah, it's have the breakdown this season. Massive blowout right now.
We're always in pain. It's not like we're in an enjoyment moment, right? Baz, just quickly, I'm sorry, lads. Some comments are contradictory. How can you feel this board will behave if Poch is back? Right, Faz, you don't listen. This is the reason. I love you, Faz. I think you're a great guy. But this is the reason why you predict 3-1 every game, right? Because you don't have any sense of reason, right? First of all, no one's championing Poch coming back. If he brings Poch back, we don't get a choice, right? Secondly, no one is saying, I can't be any clearer. No one is saying a new manager wins things at Tottenham. No one is saying that the board changed the way they act with a new manager. The problem is that Conte is not your manager for that, right? When Poch first joined us, what were the expectations? Realistically, before, what were the expectations? No one was talking about this man will lead us to glory, we're going to win things. What's the expectations under a Conte, under a Jose? It is winning, serial winning manager, we will win things. So the whole point is, if you've got this board, yeah, Get a manager that we're not expecting to win things from. Get a manager that doesn't need the best centre-backs in the world to win things. Get a manager that will go, okay, well, if you're only going to give me 20 million, sign a player, I want that player who I've seen who I can work with. Yeah? Not giving Antonio Conte Jed Spence, and then all the fans go, well, why is he not playing him? I don't feel like people actually listen. But that leads me on, Kuva. Thomas Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel is a name being bandied around. Now, this is yet another ex-Chelsea manager. Another manager for me that I don't particularly enjoy his style of play. What do you make of that? Is this just purely Conte's in a bit of a tiz-was at the moment and they're putting 2 and 2 together and getting 7? Or do you think this is definitely a Daniel Levy type move?
Oh, this is a Levy type move, no doubt about it. He's seen him win the Champions League, and therefore he will be able to fix this team without spending money, apparently. It's a really serious consideration if Conte goes out. Tuchel in, I could see it. I really could. Is it going to bring us success? No, of course it isn't, because as we know, nobody will. So what are we really bringing him for? I'll put the tweet up about it earlier, actually, with Tuchel. I think it would be an interesting move to bring him in because he looks like a corpse, and we've got a lot of Korean followers, and they're great at making zombie apocalypse movies and series. And I think he would fit in perfectly for the new Netflix special, Dead Spurs, and we do a zombie apocalypse series. And just do the running of this club because certainly brain death has gone on at some point here. Expecting things to get better, doing the same shit over and over. Let's go for it. You get Netflix is the new ground sponsor then. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, Perchi, Tuchel for me is another one. He's another one where, yes, he's been at top club. He's won a Champions League, but it's just another one off the long line where we'd go, well, he's not going to be backed. And I genuinely feel this club needs a builder. We need a builder of a team. We need a manager that comes in and acknowledges what his job is here, right? Do you know what I mean? That acknowledges, I'm not here to win things. I'm here to build.
Yeah. I mean, my opinions. I don't want another ex-Chelsea manager in. We'll having this exact conversation in 2 years' time when it all goes tits up with him, because when he's not giving players he wants. As I've told you before, I don't want a big name manager anymore because it makes no difference. People will go, well, why don't you want all that? No, because it makes no difference. We can't win it with big managers. We can't win it with little managers. So it makes no difference. So at least go and get somebody in, recruit someone through our academy, under 23 manager. As I said to you, I don't care who's in charge. About the Pochettino one, I've just seen that just come up. I don't want him coming back because I'll feel he's complicit with the ownership because he knows how bad it is working here. He's been here and dealt with it. If he comes back, then he knows what it's like. So he has no reason to complain and moan about it. He knows how bad it is working at Spurs. And that's the problem.
Absolutely.
I see it happen. That's the thing. So Michelle just made that definitely. I see Tuchel coming in because it's a sort of thing. But
so Tottenham Hotspur have got a player training with them, an 18-year-old from Shamrock Rovers. There you go, guys. That's where we are as a club. That's it. And if that is going to be it, cool. But then don't have Antonio Conte as your manager. Guys, we're going to go for another 15 minutes. Any questions, get your questions in. Please please subscribe. Please help the channel grow. Please show some love to all the other Spurs channels as well. I'm seeing, again, a Faz. Dude, I haven't been rude to you before you said in the other chat. First of all, I didn't say rebuild. You're not listening to me. My point is, Daniel Levy, this is the thing, COVID, Daniel Levy spends money. He does. We can't say that we don't spend money. The point is that what we buy is Jed Spence's, right? So what I'm saying to you, Faz, is bring in a manager that goes, Yeah, I can make him a player, get him in the team and build a team like that. I didn't say a rebuild. There's nothing to rebuild from, Faz. So listen, I will have a pop at you if you keep lying. As I've said to you many times, Faz, you're more than welcome to come on. But if you don't listen, I can't help you. I've not once said rebuild. There's nothing to rebuild from, right? If what we're saying doesn't make sense, what do you want, Faz? Tell me, put it in the chat. You want Conte to stay, I know that. What do you hope happens if Conte stays? Everybody who wants Conte to stay, please put a comment in with yes, as in yes, I want him to stay, and what do you want to happen? And we'll see how many of those are realistic, Kuva. Because what we'll get is a lot of answers is, I want Conte to stay and I want him to be backed with every player he wants. And we've seen here, we can't even back him with Pedro Porro. Yeah. So I'm just not sure. I feel this is where the fan base is absolutely in I don't know, just completely. Again, yeah, I'll take this guy. Would you guys take this guy? Deserve it at Brighton?
No.
I mean, but I'm at the point.
Well, because I think he's a good manager. There's no point. I think we should take Frank Lampard or just
I'm shocked we haven't gone for Frank Lampard. I was about to say that. I'm shocked we haven't even gone for a Maurizio Sarri because he loves Chelsea managers, the owner. So I
cannot stress enough how much I just want meltdown at the moment. I'm done with any plan here. I just want this absolute change, and it's going to take something catastrophic. I'd even take relegation if I thought it would get rid of Levy. I really would.
Just to show, Kuva, how bad we've been this year. So people who say, oh, we're fifth, like it's some sort of amazing thing. Back in the day, fifth was not something people shouted and celebrated about, right? If Man United win at Crystal Palace tonight, right, bearing in mind, this is their game in hand over us, right, until tomorrow night. Man United will be 8 points clear of us. This is a team, fair enough, they got some very good players in the summer, but this is a team that everyone said this manager needs years and years. He's got to get rid of loads of crap and they need a complete build. 6 months later, they are going to, I'm not saying they're going to win tonight. Hypothetically, they could be 8 points clear of us, Kuva. This is a manager that's been there 6 months. This is mental.
Yeah. That's the state of affairs, isn't it? Let's not get away from it. This is the worst thing happened at the start of this season was we were getting away with lucky results. Getting the points at Chelsea we didn't deserve. Getting outplayed at home by Wolves and then scraping a win out of it. Getting outplayed for a big chunk of the game against Brighton and getting a win out of it. If we'd not had the little bits of luck in those things, you could say we did enough to maybe nick it. Maybe we deserve it, maybe not. The point was we were never convincing. And yet people were saying, look at the start we've had. Best start we've ever had in the Premiership. But then if you look at actually how we were playing, is it worth that statement? Or is it just saying we rode our luck and we got the best start? But the fact is, there was an awful lot of us. It wasn't just one or two. There was a lot of us saying, look at the way we're playing. It's not sustainable. Now we're seeing what not sustainable means. Sinking down the table. And now we've got a worse record than we had last season under Conte. And this is after the first one of these big spends. So let's get any pretense that things are going in the right direction at the moment. They're not. The only thing you've got to say if you're going to keep Conte is you hope something's going to happen that changes it all. Because there is nothing to back it up with at the moment.
I mean, look, I'm looking at Man United, right? I've got it on in the background. I'm looking at the Man United 11 tonight. And again, it's another manager getting a lot out of, don't get me wrong, they've had some new signings, but I'm going to be clear, so was Conte, by the way. When we keep saying, we keep making it out as though he's not had any good players being bought for him, which is a fallacy. If you look at the Man United lineup tonight, right? So you look, how many of this team were there finishing dreadfully under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ralf Rangnick? So you've got De Gea.
Who's at right back? Wan-Bissaka. Is Maguire playing?
Hang on, I'm going to go through it for you, mate. You've
got
De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Shaw, Rashford and Fernandes. 6 players that last year I was told, oh, they're done, they all need to move on, blah, 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 blah. You got Weghorst up front tonight, who's come from Burnley. I bet you he gets the best out of him. I bet you any money he gets the best out of Weghorst, right? Yes, they've put in Ericsson, Casemiro, Martinez, and Anthony, but we've put in Bentancur, Kulusevski, Romero, Perisic. I don't understand the excuses for the excuses for this manager when other managers are doing the same thing. It's baffling to me, guys.
And this comment, yeah, you're damn right. I want Tottenham to lose at the moment. Never in my life have I said that before, and it's apart from this season. And it's because I'm at the point where I'm broken so badly by the club. I don't think this even is the club I love. This is just the ENIC money printing machine. We just happen to have a tendency to use the pitch occasionally. That's all it is. I'm sick to death of it. Just want them gone.
See, Cooper, I'm not even at the point about I want us to lose. I don't even care. Like, I don't care if we win, draw, lose, get battered. I don't care if the manager goes, if he stays. Like, I couldn't care less anymore. I'm so sick of this club. And I said, it's not just the manager, it's not just the owners, it's everything. From everything, every single part of the club bores me at the moment. I said, like, we could go and win. We could win on Thursday tomorrow. Could win on Thursday, but I don't think we will. Do you know what I mean? It makes no difference.
It's things like this that absolutely crack me up, right? So 442 magazine asking, are Spurs about to drop some serious cash on Vardiol? And if you look at the price, I know it's not very clear, they're talking about 96 million. Now, this is the thing that gets fans back on side with the owners, and we tried. There is not a chance. Guys, I will give up my house if Tottenham Hotspur have bid 96 million outright for Vardiol. And second of all, Kuva, why on earth would Vardiol join us? He is going to be wanted by every club in Europe that needs a centre-half, isn't he?
Yeah, of course he will. He'll end up with somebody else. Are we going to hit, 96 million it was rumoured at? Really? And we're haggling over a player for half the value?
Right, half the value?
And the rest.
And the rest. But, I mean, that's being generous, really, isn't it? Okay, let's go for a third. Doesn't really matter, does it? We'll haggle over a player if they're 11 million. We don't even get a Dharma Traore who goes for what were we quoted? 13 million or something like that, was it? It was something ridiculously low. Still didn't even go for it. It's all just bullshit, isn't it? It's forget it. Pie in the sky names. Might as well say we're going for Messi.
It's crazy, isn't it? And another one, guys. I mean, when we look at Trossard, I mean, it's not even a rumor. We bid £11 million for Trossard. I mean, £11 million. What has this football club come to? When I'm seeing Aston Villa going, how much do you want Villarreal for your, Betis for your wing back? 12.5 million, done. Boom. Leeds United just made a record transfer signing in a striker, done. Wolves have spent 80 million this window, done. But yet Spurs, 11 million. I'm at the point where people say you don't support your club enough. I don't recognise my club anymore. I don't recognise who we are.
That's the key. I don't recognise
the owners. I don't recognise the style of football. I don't recognise in the stadium, something Brian Daigle always says, Kuva, you look, the seats, there's no Spurs signage. There's no cockerels on the seats. There's no THFC. It's what's recognisable about this club anymore.
Nothing. But they don't want that though. That's the thing. They don't want that because they want an all-purpose stadium because they can put everything in it. You wonder, and it was. I kind of thought about this when we. Yeah, that's the sort of thing. Yeah, no, definitely, that is the sort of thing we do. But
and Emerson Royale on Emerson Royale,
throw him in there. But this is the point, and it was one of the key points when that stadium was built was that they intentionally didn't put any sort of, Tottenham colours in the seating, if that makes sense. No
Yeah,
cockerel. They did that on purpose because they didn't want the identity about Tottenham there. Yes, it's in the name of it, but they have to do it because they've got no naming rights at the moment. They don't care about that anymore. Football. I've always said it now. I've said it for a long time. The football at the club, at the company is so far down the bottom. It's so far down the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Here's how bad things are and why I'm so pissed off with it, and I think it needs breaking. We now have the first generation of adults coming to support this club that hasn't seen us win a trophy.
Right, right.
That's unbelievable. And people trying to defend Levy and Enoch over that, get a grip.
Oh.
We're a top 6 club, act like one. This is pathetic. The excuses are pathetic. Shiny stadium, what has that brought us? Top 4, what has that brought us? Nothing.
I'm gonna say it again, guys. I've got the game on in the background. I'm watching Christian Eriksen ping the ball about for fun, and I just want to know, where are all those Spurs fans who said, "Do not bring this man back"? I just can't.
I said that, to be fair, but not because he's a bad player. It's just because I thought you don't bring the ex-missus back, sort of thing.
Yeah, but you do when your new girlfriend isn't as good looking.
I suppose
we haven't got one. We haven't got an attacking midfielder. We literally don't have one.
We don't have a ball-playing midfielder. Like, who was it I was having a conversation with the other day? I said about Eriksen. I was streaming with, and they said, "Yeah, what do you mean? We've got Bentancur, who's better." And I just my will to live kind of died, because that's the fan base we have now. Fans that think that Bentancur is a better footballer than Christian Eriksen. And I just thought,
totally different sort of player, isn't it?
Well, but they're both playing the same role this season. They're both sitting in a midfield too.
Yeah,
right?
But I mean, do it. They do it differently, don't they? I mean, yeah, it's like saying I wouldn't. You're one of your favourites all time, and I agree. Carrick, great player. A totally different sort of player to Eriksen, though, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I don't see that there is that much difference from what I'm seeing Eriksen do here to what Bentancur should be doing for Tottenham. They're both playing a 2. They're both meant to get their foot on the ball. And
Eriksen's got greater sort of sense for flair and imagination with his passing, I'd say.
Sure. But by the way, this again, another fallacy. Eriksen is not on 300 grand a week at Man United. This is not true. Many people have brought this up, and many people have shut it down and saying he's not on 300 grand a week. Even if they didn't, even if he was on 300 grand a week, at some point you got to say it. Yeah, but Will, I know you said it, but the thing is, you know how the owners work. We're not going to buy a Serge Milinkovic-Savic, so why would we not want an Eriksen? He was free. It was perfect. I can't understand. He's been absolutely exceptional for Man United this season.
Yeah. I think regardless of whether you Eriksen, yes or no, I think we'd all agree we needed somebody, didn't we?
For sure. But my point was this: would I rather a younger player that's as good as Eriksen? Yes. Were we going to pay Kuva for a younger version of Eriksen? No. The guy was on a free transfer, and now he plays alongside Casemiro. It just. Anyway, guys, we are gonna wrap up there. Are there any last thoughts that anyone wants to say? Let's just 5 minutes. Let's talk Man City tomorrow. Perchi, at the risk of asking us.
Oh, hang on. We've got one I think we didn't spend enough time on. Paratici.
Well,
where is he? There you go. Where is he?
He's in prison. I've told you. He's banked up.
Because I'm looking at what's happening with him and asking the question, if he's innocent, why doesn't he just come straight out with it and say, I've done nothing wrong whatsoever? Why doesn't Tottenham also come out with a statement? Our director of football has done nothing wrong. It's nothing to this story that neither of them has, which suggests to me he's worried because there's something a little bit dodgy going on there. If that's the case, bye-bye. We have to get rid of him at some point. If Levy's waiting until it's proven, fair enough. But at some point, he's got to go.
But we're always in the lurch, aren't we, as a football club? We never know anything. You look down the road and that you hear more about from their like behind the scenes more. We don't know anything anymore.
Hang on. You know, when you see a comment and you just think, hang on. And you think, hang on, has anyone ever watched football before in their life? Right. Ericsson isn't an attacking midfielder. He couldn't unlock his garden shed, never mind a defence. I mean, Sammy Spur, dude, listen, there comes a point where there's opinions and there's just outrageous fallacies, right? Let me let you know, for a guy that can't unlock a defence, let's have a look at this. This year, he's got 6 assists in 17 Premier League games, right? Playing centre mid, by the way, not even behind the front two. For Tottenham Hotspur, he's got, let me quickly add this up, 12, 22, 32, 37, 47, 51, 53. He got 64 Premier League assists in 6 seasons for Tottenham Hotspur.
It's not bad, that, is it?
Just Premier League, and he can't unlock a garden shed. Look, this is what you're dealing with. Anyway.
I seem to remember these beautiful little interactions between Kane, Dele Alli, and Ericsson, with little flashes of genius, and then working the ball between each other and getting somebody clear to get a goal. And
dare I say it next season? Say it next season?
Yeah, I was thinking that as well.
Ericsson Kane link up next season.
Yeah.
Dare I say it?
It could happen.
Because it was
Ericsson didn't play as the number 10 Ali did. I mean, listen, I must have watched a lot of years of not seeing. So where did Ericsson play then, please? Because Wanyama and Dembele were the 2 central midfielders for that period of time. Where did Ericsson play?
I saw him out on the left, mate.
I saw him play from either flank or in the 10. But most of the time,
they
he was in
alternated,
central area.
Yeah, they all alternated. It was all kind. It was very the way they played. It was one would start on the left, but he would swap with Ali. Ali would drift to the left a bit. He would stay central. They would alternate throughout the game. He actually changed the game then.
And then, by the way, calling somebody a dumbass again, I'm seeing a pattern. You're a bit like Scott M. If you don't like an opinion, you're a dumbass. Listen, my friend, all I know is anyone that gets that many assists, that averages out at 10 assists a season playing for Tottenham, plus the number of goals he scored for us as well. Bearing in mind, he's not an attacking player. He got 7 in his first season, then 10, then 6, then 8, then 10, then 8. And these are just Premier League stats. Wow,
all I can think of is Sammy Spur has some fucking solid garden shed at the bottom of his
I'm absolutely baffled.
I mean, nuclear bunker standard.
I just want to know. So where did Ericsson play then? So when Son was on the left, and Dembele and Wanyama were in the midfield, where does people think that Ericsson played?
He's played all sorts of positions for us, though, didn't he? That's the point.
He played out on the left. He played down
even out on the right at times.
Yeah, even on the right in periods.
But dude, if you're saying how can he not unlock defenses and get that many assists? I'm baffled.
There were times when we did struggle to unlock defenses, but that's a team thing. There were times when Liverpool can't do it. There's times when Man City couldn't do it.
Yeah,
that's football. Some teams set up that way and you have trouble with it. We always struggled against teams like Burnley and that because they'd shove 10 players behind the ball.
Sure, of course. But to say that Christian Eriksen couldn't unlock a defence is just, wow, just absolutely outrageous. We talk about it all the time. Since Eriksen's gone, our creativity's gone to absolute pot.
Exactly.
Absolute pot.
We have replaced him since,
guys, quickly, tomorrow's game. Look, I'm seeing a lot of people with the whole, and we're going to talk about this for 5 minutes, and then I am going to go. I want to eat some dinner. They're our bogey team. They don't like playing us. We beat them twice last season. Does that come into account, Kuva, this year?
Nah, out the window. It's like the fact that Arsenal can't beat us at home. Doesn't matter anything this season, does it? Just look how they're doing. They got
the
they
first
got
hyperbole's gone.
a certain Norwegian up front scoring a couple of goals here and there. Apparently,
and he's on what is called he's on a dry spell of 4 games at the moment, and he'll go and take full advantage of us, won't he?
Yeah, it's let's have a look then. So we're looking at
all right. We got Dyer. He should cope with him, shouldn't he?
Let's have a look. So Erling Haaland's on a goal drought, right? Let's have a look. What does that mean for Erling Haaland? So he played 90 minutes against City, 35 minutes against Southampton, 90 against Chelsea. So he hasn't scored for 3 games. He hasn't scored for two games, 2 full 90 minutes and 35 minutes. It's not 4 games.
Oh, it must have been. Someone said it's the 4th. It'll be his 4th game then.
Well, he was on the bench for Man City versus Chelsea and didn't come on.
Oh,
in one of the games. So, I mean, I wish that my best goal drought was ever 3.
Yeah, I was going to say
3 games. Guys, so anyone giving us any hope for tomorrow at all?
I'm going to go for a really positive 4-0 City.
Yeah, I mean,
just because this is not something that happens to Conte teams. He does not get beaten heavily. This is a season for a lot of firsts for the bad reasons for us. I think that could be another one.
Yeah, Haaland can't hit a barn door, mate. Yeah, okay.
Where are these structures with these tiny little barn doors and nuclear garden sheds? Like,
he's
awesome.
He's joking. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah.
Look, who better? We've said it time and time before, lads. Look, when you are in a down spell, when you are not winning games, you want
the doctor's
Tottenham to
the doctor's
come,
here. The doctor's here.
And look, look, Faz, what I'd love to know from you. This is what I really respect you. I know you always say 3-1 just for a laugh, but what do you actually think the score will be tomorrow? Because I feel that when people don't actually give any opinions, it allows them off from ever being right or wrong, if that makes sense. So he can say, "Oh, I always say 3-1 as a laugh," but I'd love to know, what do you actually think, Faz? Because you don't think we're going to beat Man City 3-1. I don't think any Spurs fan thinks we're going to beat Manchester City 3-1 in their own back garden. They're not playing well, Kuva. Should that be of comfort to us?
Well, 2 words, isn't it? The first one's doctor.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're a home team. They're chasing a league title again. They're not going to just be coasting it. They're going to be going at us. And with the amount of skill they've got in those lineups, it's only a question of time before they start turning it on again, finding the back of the net again, and it'll be typical. It'll be against us.
Yeah.
And we've got Ben Davies, Eric Dyer, and Hugo Lloris having outstanding seasons. So, actually, to be fair, Dyer was all right against Arsenal, but all right isn't really going to cut it against Haaland, is it?
Yeah. I mean, guys, are we on the territory? And we're going to finish up in 2 minutes. Are we on the territory that, look, we've won 3 of our last 9 league games. If we lose to City, it'll be winning 3 of our last 10 league games. And then if we don't beat Fulham and City, that'll be 3 of our last 12 league games. Are we then at the point, forget whether you like Conte, you don't like him, we're now in that territory of manager's got to go, right? Surely. You're now in that territory of he's not picked. Forget who he is. Forget his style. We're in the territory of we're not picking up points.
Sorry, there's a comment by Loki's worth bringing up. Loki 73, sort of just going off my screen now.
Can't see it.
Let's see. I haven't got the timestamps on this one, unfortunately. Sandwiched in between Dan E and Derek Hutchinson's comments. I'll just read it there.
Oh.
That's the one. Perfect.
Yeah. I mean, look, guys, I think if we look, I'll tell you what, if we win, absolutely hats off to the lads. If we draw, again, very good result. even keeping it to 1-0, I think will be respectable. I can see us being hammered. I can see we're the sort of team that will play City back into the title race. That's what we are. So God,
yeah. Wouldn't that would be proper return of Spursy, wouldn't it? Go and win at City to help Arsenal out, and then get battered by Fulham.
Yeah, absolutely, guys and girls. I will leave it there. Please. Thank you so much to everyone in the chat. Thank you for all the sensible ones. Savva,
Big up, Joe, mate. Sorry, yeah, no worries.
Savva, listen? I always want Spurs to win, but mate, listen, I'm 40 years of age. I want us to win every game, but I realise as well when we're about to get a pasting. I realise when I get that feeling in my stomach that nothing is well at the club. Look, guys, thank you. Please please subscribe. We're 139 away from the 3K now, so please
smash the like button, guys, everyone.
And thank you very much, everyone. Perchi, thank you very much for coming on. Much appreciated.
It was always a pleasure, mate.
Always welcome. Kuva, as always, thank you so much, mate. Listen, I think both of you are going to be live with me tomorrow after the game, I think.
Should be, yeah. I think I might be around, so yeah.
Kuva, you there tomorrow, 10 o'clock?
I don't know what's happening with Shellside Spurs show at the moment.
Let me know. It's fine either way. I will be live tomorrow at 10 o'clock, straight after the game for instant match reaction. Listen, who knows?
I'll be here at some point, no doubt.
Yeah, of course. No worries. Is Henry live today? I shouldn't think so. No, he won't be live today. Don't ask me how I know. I just know. I'm sure Henry, I'll big up Henry. He is doing a live watch along tomorrow, followed by instant match reaction. So please get over there and watch that with Henry. Much love, everyone. Please please subscribe. Thank you for all your time. And as always, Enoch and Levy out.
Levy out.